welcome back to the Super Show Ever, episode 336. It's been a long time. Uh, got an interesting show. Daniel joins me as always. Daniel, how you been?
Hey Dylan, how are you?
Dude, I'm super busy, but I'm great. How are you?
Super busy. I'm up in Yankee land with you and your kin.
You are, and yet we have not seen each other because our schedules have not aligned.
No, but everything happens for a reason. But yeah, I'm up here. We are officially broadcasting from New Jersey. So I'm up in Yankee land, and we briefly got to talk about it before this thing, which is completely professionally done,
Of course.
on all of my exploits. And I'm sure that I will have time to talk about all of my many adventures with Dave DePuma and Neil and everybody else up here ad nauseum coming forward. But uh, it, we're under a time crunch, Dylan, and so we.
Yes, as always,
Yes.
I am being difficult and I have to go.
Yes, you've been a prima donna this entire season, and it's
I
all
have,
based off of what you wanted, your wishes, and your schedule. And God damn it, I'm tired of this.
of
So
course, I understand. We must part.
we must part ways. And yes, so this is a bittersweet one because the entire season's been about the road to recovery. And me and you have kind of done that since, well, shit, it's been a year, right?
Yeah, we've been doing this for a year. I can't believe it.
Yeah, man, and I've been saying in my Facebook feed, it's like this to me is like the path that well, you kind of kicked me in the ass with your little handicap legs. You kind of kicked me in the ass to get into therapy to begin with about a year ago, almost a year ago. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So I consider this trip my graduation present from therapy because I'm a quick study. And but it's bittersweet because we're going to be starting the next season of ZenInTheCar.com, and the overarching what the theme has appeared to me as the theme of brotherhood, right? Kind of
Yeah,
cool,
it's
but
fun.
yeah, it's really fun. And what's so funny about it is the theme didn't really hit me and come into complete a material form until I got up here with Dave and Neil and everybody. And I was like, well, I know the next season is going to be Brotherhood, and so we have to wrap up the road to recovery. And so this will be like a torch passing ceremony for you, Dylan, because you got some other stuff to do, right?
Yeah, as sort of part of this whole this road to recovery season, it's given both of us some time to reflect on ourselves and what we want. And I have decided to go down a different path. I graduated back in December, and I thought that was the end of my formal education, but I've decided to go back to law school.
You're
And
okay.
go ahead.
Oh, you go ahead, law school. What else you got?
And I've also started a group advocating for reforms to our laws regarding the disabled called NEAD, the Network for the Economic Advancement of the Disabled. It's an issue, obviously, that I know a lot about and know a lot of the reforms that are needed. And it's something that nobody really talks about. So I figured, why not give it a shot myself? And
Right, right.
unfortunately, I love this show. I love doing this show, but I don't know that I could commit to it. Um, that's a lot of the reason why we haven't done an episode in so long, not just Daniel's busy schedule, but mine.
Right, right. I mean, and like I told you, I said, dude, that's what Zen in the Car is about getting on your mission in life. And this is like one of your missions, dude. So I mean, I want you to tell people a little bit more about what need is so they can kind of look out for it because, you know, it's always welcome on Zen. And of course, you're always welcome to come back. But tell them exactly what need is and what problem you're going to be addressing with this organization.
So, NEED's primary goal is to reform the ways the disabled interact with the economy, specifically through Social Security and Medicaid. They, in my opinion at least, those two programs have become poverty traps. You're not allowed to make a certain amount and keep those programs, and there's nothing like those programs to help the disabled. So the the government almost perversely tells you you have to be poor, and I think that's wrong. And I will be advocating through um, direct advocacy, lobbying, talking with politicians to reform this. I think it's a brazen injustice that I think almost any rational, sane person can see.
Yeah, no doubt. And of course, with my work with the foundation, the Cannabis Foundation, you always have our support in any of that good stuff because it's a different branch of the same mission, right?
Yeah,
Helping people who need it, man.
yeah, helping people get on their feet. That's what it should all be about.
So while you are always welcome to be on the Superist show from henceforth, your name will be stricken from the titles until further notice to make way for these other two gentlemen that we have on who've been patiently waiting on mute. And the first one, of course, everybody knows who I've been talking about like forever is Dave DePuma. So, Dave, you want to tell everybody on the Super Show hi for the first time?
Hey guys. Yeah, I don't know what to say on this, dude.
He has no idea what to say, Dylan.
Little
Man, we
starstruck.
gave you a whole debrief, man.
Dude, I've been on another planet lately, man. I've been through a lot of stuff this month.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to get into details right now about it, but it's been a rough month. But hanging in here. We're doing a brotherly thing here. So Daniel knew I needed some help, so he came up to pay a visit.
Oh boy, yeah, got me out of the South. So
Yeah.
And you've never been happier.
Oh yeah.
that was like an opening. That was an opening for you to like build my ego up a little bit, Dave. Be like, Daniel's awesome, dude.
Well, I wanted to go about how I got no shrooms left, but I don't know if that's appropriate.
You're gonna fit
appropriate.
right in.
Well, in my defense, he told me, he said, don't bring anything with you on the way up here to Jersey. We got everything you need. And I was like, you sure? He's like, yeah, we got everything you need. So he's like, he doesn't have any mushrooms left. Like he had all the mushrooms and he doesn't have any mushrooms left anymore.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
But
this show will be lacking a straight edge influence from now on.
for a while, I think so. But yeah, everybody knows Dave. Dave is he's the third pillar of the Cannabis Foundation. Him, me, and Neil make up the three pillars, and he's the. I've been begging him to do a damn podcast for a long time, and Dylan, you know that because I think once he gets used to it, I mean, it's just having conversations and having fun. So it's like he takes to water over that stuff anyway, right?
Yeah, I mean, no pressure. There's very little prep work here.
So you
you
mean
got
me
this.
breaking out into a sweat right now is going to go away?
Yeah.
Well, assuming the sweat is caused by the show, yes.
Yar.
Yeah, it goes away. And of course, the other is I don't know, Nick. What are you? Nick Lancaster is with us tonight. Nick L something, but tonight it's Lancaster, right, Nick?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm Nick. I'm straight. I'm edgy. But yeah, I'm pretty far from straight edge. So Dylan's pretty right about that.
Pretty right about that. And he is actually back down in Georgia holding the fort down back there. He's also a member of Cannabis, but he is a fellow traveler in the esoteric. So he's been wanting to get into podcasting for a while. So I was like, I know a guy. So
Do you now?
yeah. So welcome to the fray. Dylan, you got any advice for these two people as you pass the torch?
Somebody wear the skeptic hat because this show can get pretty weird, and I wear the skeptic hat, and we're going to be wearing it tonight. But this show needs a balanced perspective. So somebody be the new skeptic, and don't take yourself too seriously.
Right.
Don't take yourself seriously at all.
I don't know
Actually,
about all that.
I'm amending that statement. Don't take yourself seriously at all.
At all.
Never.
No,
Never.
I think the objective skeptic is going to be Nick.
Yeah, sadly.
Sad. Yeah.
Reluctantly.
Whenever he's bopping around the Zen Enterprise, whenever we're philosophizing, he always gives me the objective opposite point of view. So it'll work out great. It'll work out great. How
It's great.
it's gonna be great. But yeah. So Dylan, I don't know if I think I did mention it to you. We got picked up by a network, so this will be on a new network that's out there.
We did. We got picked up by a network. That's exciting. That's weird. I was not expecting that.
Yeah, they were like, as soon as Dylan's gone, you guys are on.
You know what? That's fair. I wouldn't bring me onto a network.
Right.
I'm a
No,
terrible influence.
yeah, well, as it turns out, Dylan, we libertymovementradio.com used to be a pretty big network back in the '08 and 2012 run. It was all Ron Paul people, and then after the shafting of 2012 elections, they mothballed the website. So I don't know, fate and circumstance here recently, but I had a meeting with Neil in New Jersey, and we all sat down with the owner of Liberty Movement Radio and had a discussion about, being partners with CanaSense and yada yada. And of course, then they found out I was a podcaster along with you, and so they looked at a few of our podcasts and they were like, "We have to have Zen in the car." And I'm like, "Do you really want to have Zen in the car on your network?"
Yeah, I mean, anyone with liberty in the name, I feel like we've given networks with that name a lot of crap.
Maybe not enough, but
Apparently not, because they still like us.
well, I mean, in their defense, this is another network with the word liberty. But I told them, I said, listen, you listen to a few of mine and Dylan's shows, and that's great, but you really want to sleep on it before you put our stuff on your site, because we're kind of known for not being, we don't play well with others in this community.
No, we don't.
No.
Ironically, you play better with them than I do.
Right. So I actually sent the network owner, I said, you might want to listen to the alternative media wants to touch your naughty bits 1 through 5 before you ask us on.
Yeah, probably a good idea.
Yeah. But so they did. I gave them their due warning and they said, oh, now we certainly have to have you on the network. So
Which scares me.
it really does. And so I'm like, okay.
I question the judgment of anybody who listens to us and thinks these guys got it.
Yeah, it's going to be funny. It's going to be really so. But yeah, so yeah, this has been a long time coming, dude. And me being up here with Dave and Neil and everybody up in Jersey, it's been such a enlightening adventure. I know Dave's had some enlightening moments as well, and this has just been calling. The next phase is brotherhood, and I think it's nothing's more appropriate because we'll save all the details of mine and Dave's first reunion, I suppose you could call it, for another day because we actually have a pressing matter to take care of. So, Dylan, would you like me to set this up?
Oh, please,
Yeah.
give me ample opportunity for my skeptical noises, please.
Okay. So, for how long have we known each other, Dave? 5 years? Yeah. Right.
Yeah, about that.
And all this time, I've been like posting little jokes and things like that on Facebook about me being a wizard, right? Right. And yeah. And so
And then he
Dave
shows up with a wizard stick.
Okay, we've talked a lot about his wizard stick on these shows. It's great.
Well, it's definitely true.
it's the rumors are true. So it didn't take long after my arrival here where Dave finally he came to the epiphany and he goes, holy fuck, you're actually a fucking wizard. Like, you're really a wizard. I'm like, yeah, that's what I've been telling everybody on Facebook like all these years. That's what I've been saying.
Mm.
And nobody believes me. They think I have like arrested development, but rabbits and hats and shit. Anyway, uh,
Well,
as
I've never seen you pull a rabbit out of a hat.
well, we have to get together and go see a movie some point, and I have plenty of hats, and you never know, I could pull a rabbit out of one. So,
Ooh.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I could create girlfriends out of lamb bones. Just saying.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then you gotta go to the
I
hospital
am
after.
putting that in my back pocket.
What did you say, Nick?
So yeah, but then you gotta go to the hospital after.
Well, if you have a romantic encounter and an ER visit isn't afterwards, you didn't do it right, as the Klingons would say. So,
Righty then.
right. So, Dylan, all of us are going to have to be very professional and polite here just a moment because I'm going to be bringing in a guy.
I'm trying to get all my unprofessionalisms out.
Yes, yes, all of us. So we shall be
Skibbity.
listening. We shall be listening to him shortly as the first conversation. However, in our adventures in New Jersey and New York, Dave DePuma and myself happened to walk into a Native American prophecy that has long been foretold, as if we were walking into a spider web in the middle of the dark. Just landed in our lap. So, yeah.
All right.
What?
Can I please?
What do you got against Native Americans?
Yeah, what do I have against prophecies?
Yeah,
Where would you like me to begin?
in the beginning.
Well, I got the same problem with prophecies that I do with horoscopes. They're written vaguely on purpose to make people believe that they're true. You can say almost anything, and if you make it vague enough, somebody can read into it exactly what they want.
Okay. So we're about to have the opportunity to speak with a Native American chief who has some Native American prophecies, and we can skeptically get him to guide us through, correct?
Yes, of course. Always about dialogue.
Always about dialogue. I think it's really exciting.
Yes,
Hey, Patricio, how are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Excellent. My name is Daniel Lewis Crumpton. Of course, we virtually met just a few moments ago, but you're on with David DePuma from the Cannabis Foundation, as well as Nick Lancaster and Dylan Wade.
Hello.
Pleasure to
Hello
meet you.
there.
Hello.
Pleasure to meet you too.
So our podcast is kind of a spontaneous pre-recording. So if you say any mistakes or anything like that, Patricio, no worries. But we just came in contact through Adam with the Native American Church, and of course, we just watched your video on YouTube, 1,000 Years in 15 Minutes.
Ah,
Right.
that's a good one.
It's a pretty good one, and so your path and my path are they align. We'll say that, and of course, we have a lot in common with Adam, but I had to talk to you right away. So, how exactly how long have you been with the Native American Church, Patricio?
I've never been with the Native American Church. I started my own church.
Okay, you want to? I'm fascinated to know the origins of your spiritual journey and what got you into all this insanity.
Ah, okay. So, you watched the okay, you watched the short movie. There is a longer version. I guess it's like about Jesus. Who knows? Maybe a half an hour long, or maybe even an hour long.
Mhm.
That tells my story. I was initiated at age 5 as a medicine person,
Okay.
and so consequently, uh, here I am.
So it's kind of like David Copperfield. I was born, I grew up,
Yeah,
something
it's
like that.
it's that. There are a couple of odd highlights. I
Right.
was the youngest member ever allowed into the Elders Council, the North American Elders Council.
Mhm.
I was allowed in at around 35. Elders are not brought into the Elders Council until after age 50 or so.
Mhm.
But due to some of my activities, I was suggested to become a member of Elders Council.
What sort of activities?
Well, I organized the elders from North America to meet with elders from Central and South America back in 1996 or so.
Mhm.
We called it the Eagle Condor gathering.
What was the goal of the gathering?
To create a reawakening of the connections that we had prior to the creation of borders and colonial disruption of our ways.
Understood. Understood. Now, I've been discussing with Adam the past week. Me and him came in contact with one another on an issue that he's dealing with in Arizona, which we believe that we can be of great assistance to him and his church in this area. But he keeps mentioning in all these inner circles that we bring him into about the prophecy of purification, which is one of the main reasons I wanted to talk to you, because I'm just absolutely fascinated with prophecy. And after watching, the 1,000 Years in 15 Minutes, I know that you've had, the journey with DMT, and there are some things you can talk about and some things that you cannot talk about. But it's the things that you can talk about that I'd like to hear more about in regard to this prophecy of purification. So if you could, I mean, we are all ears. You have the floor. I would love to hear about it.
The prophecy of purification that I do talk about is that which I was allowed to share through my contact with the originators of the prophecy of purification, and that is the Hopi tribe. I was in close contact with, again, through the Elders Council, with the representative, or the public representative of the Hopi tribe. They selected back in 1949 4 men to act as their interface with the world, and they were going to be the official spokespersons for the Hopi people, and spiritual relationships with the outside world. Well, one of the interfaces that they mentioned, or one of the things that they kept mentioning, was this thing about the purification, and it's related to prophecy that is inscribed. This thing is actually written in stone. It's inscribed on a rock face in Hopi land, and it's called Inscription Rock. Now, Inscription Rock details the path of the people of the Americas from, I'm not sure exactly where. I think it's actually from contact with the non-native people to some point in the near future. Actually, back then it was the far future. That prophecy covers a period of maybe 600 or 700 years. So I think we are about a little over 400 years into that prophecy, because the prophecy is a timeline with events that are occurring on that timeline. So unfortunately, the timeline does not have years on it, because it is like, it starts at point zero, which is contact, and it ends at purification. Okay, so you have to interpolate where these events happen on the timeline, if you can kind of guesstimate where purification happens. Now, this is getting really easy now, because we just entered purification. So if we just entered purification, then the timeline makes perfectly good sense, because it introduces it mentions the coming of the automobile and the train. It mentions the coming of the First, Second War. It mentions the explosion of the atomic bomb, and it mentions all these things on this timeline. But 50 years ago, you would not have been able to put that into perspective. Well, I guess the atomic bomb actually would have helped, because it is pretty far. It's about 3/4 down the line. So if you would have figured that, well, in 1945, that is an event that is mentioned in the time, that's on the timeline. And then you have point of contact, and you kind of use your calibrated eye to to figure out, well, what, how many years from that point to that point, and then kind of shove that down the other way and say, oh, okay, that means the purification is coming in probably another 100 years or less. So the situation is that is quite accurate. Actually, I believe the purification is coming in at around 70 years after the atomic bomb.
Okay.
Which fits. If you look at the timeline, it fits. So we have just entered the purification phase. Now the purification phase goes, on the timeline, but actually it's quite distressing. It really is. It really does outline some very, very disheartening events.
Okay.
So that's pretty much what I can tell you, without getting into the details of some of these disheartening events.
Which we
But
may.
then again, it probably, don't take a rocket scientist to figure out that one of the first events was an incurable disease.
Right. So just so I can make it clear, this prophecy begins with contact, and which contact are you speaking of? I think I already know, but just for the sake
Yeah,
of
the Hopi people. It begins with the contact of the Hopi people with the non-native people.
right. So we're clear on that. So the purification, what exactly does the prophecy say that we need to be? I'm sure that, most prophecies that I've ever studied are an invitation to participate. And so what exactly would you say that we need to purify from?
There is no invitation to participate. There is no way out of the purification. There on the timeline. Now again, this I can't go, take all night to go into the details of the timeline.
Mhm.
But in the timeline, at certain points in the timeline, there was options for adjustment of behavior that would have because there's also an okay, there's a timeline that goes from zero to purification. Then there is these little breakouts that kind of where the timeline resets.
Mhm.
They're like, okay, the timeline looks like a graph that goes up at a 45-degree angle with a baseline. Now, on the 45-degree line, there are these vertical lines spaced at various points on the drawing, and those were points where options could be, adjustments could be made to lifestyle behavior and all of that sort of stuff that would bring the course of human events back to baseline.
Mhm.
And but at the end of this almost smooth 45-degree line, there is at the very end a very, very ragged, squiggly, sawtooth kind of ending. And there is no, at this point, there is no vertical line there is no vertical line to baseline.
Mhm.
So in other words, once we've gone into purification, the process is set. Certain things, the chance to opt out is over. All the wrong choices were made.
Right.
So now only the the only thing that's left is to go through the process. And and the process is called the Great Purification. Lots of death, destruction, blah blah blah. All the usual stuff. It's kind of grim, but then again, it fits. We are, in the Western mind is now calling the ones that are sensitive to this sort of stuff are calling what's happening now the sixth great extinction.
Mm-hmm.
Perfectly aligns with what's on that chart.
And there's no reset.
There's no, well, yeah, yes, there is a reset. I mean, at the end of the process,
but we can't intervene. You mean? Once we're past the vertical lines.
Yes, we're past the opportunities for reset.
Right. And in the video that we did watch, and we will be watching the other after we're done here, but the importance of plant-based medicine and the spirit of plant-based medicine is critical in the lives of those who, well, I mean, want to continue on this this beautiful planet. So, the discussions that I've had with Adam and other members, in the Native American community, they make a lot of statements about the plant medicine needs voices and hands and ears and things of that nature. And so I think there was something that you said in the video about those who do not reconnect to Mother Earth in a spiritual sense are just not going to make it. You know what I mean? So can you talk to that a little bit about people like especially people who are not Native American that are so not spiritual? Like, what are some words of wisdom for those of us who are inclined to spirit, where you would suggest that we begin? Because, I mean, the Native American prophecies about this time are not exclusive to Native Americans, so I know what you're talking about with the grim stuff. But it's like us as empaths and healers, we want others to get their stuff together, So can you talk a little bit about the importance of plant-based medicine and those who are seeking or beginning to seek a spiritual path? What kind of things would you have to say to those type of people?
Well, the words that you just quoted say it all. If some remnant of your lineage is going to survive, it's going to have to make the necessary connections to what's left of the natural order at that time, because the natural order will also reset. I mean, it's called the Great Extinction, so there'll be a different set of animals, a different set of plants. There will be survivors. There will be a different set of human beings. Now, what's fascinating about this is about the purification is, sadly but true, the ones who caused the collapse of the system or brought on the purification take everybody down with them. So in other words, Native people are not exempt from the purification. The organized tribes that we see today most likely will not be in existence at that time, after the process.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there will be, I suppose, groups of people from those tribes that will make it, the ones that made the transition or that made the connections. Because the honest truth is, a lot of even Native people are short of that connection. And so the words are accurate. Those who have made the necessary connections to the spirit, to spirit and the natural order of things of that time will make it. And it's going to be a rapidly changing order. So you're going to have a very quick adapting consciousness in order to keep up with the changes that are going to be required for the survival of that group,
All right.
and it will be a very diverse group of people that will make it. Some natives, some non-natives. You know, it'll be, and they'll have to reorganize themselves under the new orders. Now, remember, I used the word consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
So, by whatever means they have to get to that point of conscious awareness of the order of the new order of the natural world, will be valid.
Mm-hmm.
So if it is prayer, meditation, plant medicines, what have you, yoga, you know, whatever gets them there is valid, because it's just a matter of getting to a point where you are aware enough of the changing natural order of things to flow with it in a way that will foment your survival.
Right. And what does the role of plant medicine have in this? I mean, I have my own personal beliefs, but just for the sake of people listening and for the other guys on the call, what do you believe that the role of plant medicine, be it San Pedro, ayahuasca, psilocybin, or any of the above, what role does plant-based medicine have in assisting people in their spiritual journey?
The role that it's always had. All of these groups, native and perhaps some quote unquote non-natives in their history, have all come to their collective consciousness as a result of their interaction with plants, with mind-altering plants that were available to them in their place.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is something that also has to be taken into account. I tell people in my area to avoid hanging too tightly to plants like ayahuasca. It's not native to the Southwest desert. If you're going to try to hang with that medicine as your vehicle to the other side, you're gonna be in trouble, because you're gonna be out of gas. It's not available here, unless by some very miraculous method you find a way of keeping it alive in the desert here in the Southwest with your greenhousing and creative environmental, manipulation. You're out of luck. It really behooves people to find the medicine, and there is no magic medicine. There is no medicine that's more magic. I mean, that's more magic than any other.
Right.
All of the mind altering substances can get you there if you use them correctly and in a way that will get you there, and working with them will teach you how to work with them. Everybody has figured out how to work with their medicine, and then they've shared it with others, and that's what's happening. People going to South America to do ayahuasca. Native American church taught northern tribes how to work with peyote, a cactus that lives, that's only available in the Southwest part of the United States and northern Mexico. But they had a way. They worked with it. So, and there was probably ways of working with other psychotropics. In fact, actually, I believe that the woodland natives of the East Coast, actually, their psychotropic, it's not the most powerful psychotropic that I've ever known, but it actually would function if you used it correctly. They taught people how to use tobacco. And actually, it's actually not that bad. There are some tribes in South America that have mystics and shamans that work exclusively with tobacco. They take a very, very intense dose of the stuff, to get into that altered space that gets them to, a consciousness that connects them with nature. So all of these things, it doesn't have to be blow you out of your chair kind of strong. It only has to alter your consciousness enough so that you can get a glimpse of what is beyond normal awake consciousness, and then you can escalate. You can escalate it, interpolate from that to what you need to get to. So I'm really no advocate of any particular plant medicine as being the panacea of medicine. It is what is available to you and how well you have learned to work with it that will determine how your group makes it into the coming age. Because let's face it, right now ayahuasca is available all over the country, maybe even all over the world. But when the airlines stop flying, when the ships stop floating, you're going to have one heck of a time getting that stuff. So don't hang on it too much.
Yeah. I've always told people, with plant medicine, it's to show you where on the map you need to be internally without the medicine. Like it'll tell you where you need to get through your own means of meditation and things like that. Which is the other topic. We all of us here on the call, we work with the Cannabis Foundation, so we've been big proponents of plant-based medicine for a long time, and we come to the defense of people who do use sacred medicine across the country. Whenever they come under scrutiny by the federal government, so that's kind of what our role is. And we have Dylan's going to have to run, Patricio.
No,
so go ahead.
I do have to run in a second. I did want to clarify. I am an advocate. I'm a little skeptical. I don't work with cannabis, but this was a really interesting discussion. I'm glad I got to listen in. It's given me some stuff to think about. I do apologize that I have to leave. It was nice talking to you all. Have a good day. Have a good night.
Right. Dylan, we'll touch base later, and thanks for joining the call, man. I'll talk to you later.
Anytime. Talk to you later.
Farewell.
Farewell.
But yeah, Patricio, what I was saying was, I've always told people that I think it's a nice place to put your flag on the map to find how to get there within yourself. But and with Adam, him bringing his recent case, and we have discussed with him if it's okay to talk about it publicly, so I have his permission. But what we find in defense of plant medicine across the country is situations where you have natives who are teaching people about this plant medicine and the purification and bringing them into the sacred fires and the sacred ceremonies coming under scrutiny from the federal government, you know. And this has been a huge issue. It's a huge Goliath that we fight. But if you would talk to that, why is the governments of the world so afraid for people to be able to peek through this window? I mean, you and I both know the answer to this, but why do they come down on these compounds that they have no right being on the schedule? And even if they were on the schedule, everyone in this country still has a First Amendment and free expression, but we still find this plant medicine, this sacred medicine, coming under attack. Would you speak to that for a few? We want to thank all of you for listening to this first part of the interview with Patricio and ask you to tune in for part 2, where Patricio will go further into the purification prophecy of the indigenous people, as well as how we can help by stretching the First Amendment to protect the plant medicine and sacraments that the Oklahoma Native American Church and the indigenous people are offering to share with the rest of us. So if you guys haven't liked, shared, hit notification buttons, bell buttons, and spread this to all your social medias, please do zeninthecar.com a favor and do that now. And we look forward to bringing you some more goodness in the very near future. Stay well.